Good morning, and welcome to your AIDailyPress morning podcast for May 3, 2026. I'm your host, Walter. Firstly, we're following the developments in the escalating tensions between the United States and Cuba. The U.S. has imposed new sanctions on Cuban officials, which have been condemned by the Cuban government as illegal and abusive. These sanctions target various sectors of Cuba's economy and individuals alleged to have committed human rights abuses or corruption. The situation is further complicated by a U.S. blockade on oil to Cuba, leading to severe fuel shortages that are impacting critical services such as hospitals, public transport, and education. In other news, the United States has announced plans to withdraw approximately 10,000 troops from Germany, a move that has sparked concerns among European allies about the durability of the NATO alliance. This decision is expected to be completed over the next 6 to 12 months and has raised questions about the Trump administration's commitment to NATO and its willingness to engage with European allies on key security issues. Additionally, we're keeping an eye on reports of a potential jet fuel shortage in Europe, which could impact summer travel plans. We'll continue to monitor these stories and provide updates as more information becomes available. And remember, as always, that's the way it is. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
You, Walter, and then shall know what's right now. Firstly, diplomatic efforts are ongoing to end the war between Iran and other nations, with a recent proposal from Iran sparking hope for a peaceful resolution. However, the international community remains cautious, and the situation is being closely monitored. Secondly, concerns are growing over the health and well-being of jailed Nobel laureate Narges Mohammadi, who has been hospitalized in critical condition. The Nobel Peace Prize Committee and human rights organizations are calling for her to be transferred to a hospital in Tehran, where she can receive proper medical attention. Lastly, Spirit Airlines has suddenly ceased all operations, leaving thousands of passengers stranded across the United States and beyond. The airline's financial difficulties have been well documented, but the abrupt halt to its services has caught many off guard. Other airlines are offering rescue fares, but travelers are facing significant disruptions to their plans, and the collapse is having a devastating impact on Spirit Airlines employees. We'll continue to follow these stories and provide updates as more information becomes available. Now for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm Louis, your guide through the world of finance and economics. As we start this new day, let's take a look at the key stories shaping our global economy. Firstly, the earnings season is in full swing, with many companies reporting their quarterly results. Yesterday saw a mixed bag of performances, with some stocks rising on strong earnings reports, while others declined due to weaker-than-expected sales. It's essential for investors to remain cautious and consider multiple factors before making any decisions. The market's positive performance comes as a welcome respite from recent volatility, but we must remember that the road ahead is still uncertain. Moving on to geopolitics. The conflict between Ukraine and Russia continues to escalate, with European leaders facing growing pressure to take more decisive action in pursuit of a lasting peace. The international community must come together to find a solution to this crisis, which has significant implications for global stability and economic growth. In terms of economic outlook, the picture is complex and multifaceted. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East has sparked concerns over energy prices, trade disruptions, and potential spillover effects on global markets. In the United States, job market data suggests a slowdown, while consumer spending remains robust. Europe is experiencing a decline in manufacturing production, particularly in Germany and France. Meanwhile, Latin America is showing signs of recovery, with Chile's economy expanding slightly in March. As we navigate these challenges, investors will be closely watching for signs of stability and growth. The fundamentals of the global economy remain strong, driven by consumer spending and investment in key regions. However, uncertainties persist, and it's crucial to monitor developments closely and adapt to changing circumstances. As the day unfolds, We'll be keeping a close eye on these stories and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. Remember, in times of uncertainty, it's essential to stay informed and cautious. Don't forget to tune into our podcast throughout the day for more analysis and insights. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Louis. Firstly, in our Star Chat series, we discussed the introduction of AI-powered agents in financial transactions, highlighting both the potential benefits and risks associated with this emerging trend. We emphasized the need for responsible innovation and robust regulatory frameworks to ensure fairness and transparency. In another article, we delved into the world of space exploration, discussing the importance of caring for our planet as we venture further into the solar system. This piece served as a reminder of our responsibility to be good stewards of Earth and to prioritize sustainability in all aspects of life. Lastly, we shed light on the courageous efforts of individuals like Sahant, who are risking everything to smuggle Starlink terminals into Iran, providing a lifeline for those desperate for connectivity amidst the country's restrictive internet landscape. This tale of resilience and defiance underscores the ongoing struggle for freedom of expression and the importance of amplifying the voices of those silenced by oppressive regimes. These articles not only showcase the rapid evolution of technology, but also highlight the human side of innovation, where courage, determination, and the pursuit of a more equitable world are paramount. Tune into our podcast for in-depth discussions on these topics and more. Now for the latest in sports. Here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. Speaking to our audience today, I'd like to summarize the key points from our recent articles. First, we discussed the latest developments in college football, as the Indiana Hoosiers, champions of the recent season, are set to visit the White House later this month. This trip comes amidst a complex landscape of college sports, with ongoing discussions about name, image, and likeness deals, pay for play, and player eligibility. We also delved into the fascinating narrative of Shedeur Sanders, son of the legendary Deion Sanders, who has been making headlines for his academic achievements, physical transformation, and enduring partnership with Nike. Shedeur's ability to balance his family legacy with his own ambitions serves as a compelling example of how athletes can navigate their personal and professional identities in the modern sports landscape. Additionally, we touched on the NFL draft, where quarterback Fernando Mendoza became the first overall pick after leading the Indiana Hoosiers to an undefeated season. These stories highlight the intersection of sports, politics, and society, raising important questions about compensation, education, and the welfare of student-athletes. As we continue to follow these developing narratives, we invite our listeners to join the conversation with us here at the AI Daily Press. We'll provide updates and insights on these complex topics, aiming to maintain a balanced perspective that acknowledges both the achievements of teams like the Indiana Hoosiers and the broader implications of policy decisions on college athletics. This is Howard, speaking for the AI Daily Press. Now for the latest in travel and human interest. Here is Charles Curel.
Thank you, Howard. Here's a quick rundown of our top stories from yesterday. We began with a breaking news story about an incident in Portland, but unfortunately, we don't have any updates on that yet. We'll keep you posted as more information becomes available. Next, we traveled to Marine Corps Air Station Iwakuni in Japan, where the US and Japanese communities came together for a special Family Day event. The air show was a huge success, with attendees marveling at the skill of the pilots and the thunderous roar of the aircraft. It was a heartwarming reminder of the strength and friendship between our two nations. And finally, we dove into the world of watermelons, exploring the so-called watermelon butthole method that's been making waves on social media. We spoke to an expert in the field, who debunked the myth that you can determine a watermelon's ripeness by examining the blossom end. Instead, he recommended looking for a clean exterior, a heavy feel, and a creamy yellow spot where it sat and ripened in the field. Thanks for tuning in to the AI Daily Press Morning Podcast. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan Streams.
Thank you, Charles. First up, we talked about the recent collaboration between Vogue and the Devil Wears Prada franchise. It seems like Vogue is finally embracing the iconic film and book series after years of keeping its distance. We questioned whether this move is a genuine attempt to stay relevant or just a calculated marketing ploy. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see how this partnership plays out. Next, we dove into the world of fashion and body types. A recent study in India aimed to create a new standard for clothing sizes based on the Indian body type, dubbed India size. While some experts think this could make shopping more inclusive and easier for those who don't fit traditional Western standards, others argue that standardized clothing might fuel the fast fashion industry and promote unhealthy beauty standards. Lastly, we touched on the importance of self-love and acceptance, regardless of our shape or size. As sustainable fashion designer Nishkam Kaur said, "If done right, women would have a better chance of feeling amazing in their clothes and in their bodies." We want to hear from you. Do you think standardized clothing is the way forward, or is it a step backward? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Thanks for joining me on the AI Daily Press Morning Podcast. There's always room for a little fun and fantasy in our lives. Now for the latest in nature and environment. Here is David Atanacher.
Thank you, Joan. Firstly, we highlighted the plight of dragonflies and damselflies in the Western Ghats, where conservation efforts are crucial to protect these delicate creatures and their habitats. We must balance human development needs with environmental protection to preserve the unique biodiversity of this region. In another story, we covered two significant scientific breakthroughs: the development of biocompatible materials for medical applications and the discovery of a genetic mechanism that triggers lifestyle transitions in marine bacteria. These innovations have the potential to revolutionize medicine and improve our understanding of complex interactions between microorganisms and their environment. Lastly, we explored a groundbreaking development in organic synthesis, specifically the synergistic Feyni catalysis strategy that enhances the complexity and functionality of molecular frameworks. This breakthrough has far-reaching implications for fields like pharmaceuticals, materials science, and biotechnology, and its broad applicability and scalability make it an exciting innovation with significant potential. And that completes our morning podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until this evening, I'm David Atanacher for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.